going down this road that's productive. It makes me feel good to, it might be old fashioned, but I like the idea of giving something back. I like the idea of, if you're fortunate enough with enough success to create something that can give an opportunity to other people, I just like that feeling.
Robert Redford didn't just leave Hollywood a legacy. He left behind a fortune that will make his family incredibly rich. When the actor-director passed away at 89, he left more than memories of classic films. We're talking millions from real estate deals, festival power plays, and decades of blockbuster earnings. Fans are asking, how much is his estate worth? Who inherits the wealth? And what secrets lie in the way he planned it all? Stay tuned, because the numbers will surprise you. The quiet money machine.
Money came back into the picture, things changed. And suddenly there was development out of control.
For decades, audiences saw the charm, insiders saw the engine. Redford's career stacked multiple income streams, star paychecks from hits like The Sting and All the President's Men, back-end participation on select projects, producer and director fees, and later life supporting roles that still commanded premium quotes. But the deeper value came from the indie ecosystem he built. Sundance wasn't a vanity project. It was an idea factory that spilled into labs, deals, and long relationships with filmmakers and brands who saw Redford as an institution. Even after stepping back from acting, he remained a magnet for financing and influence. As critic Pauline Kael once wrote, Redford has never been so radiantly glamorous. That radiance wasn't just beauty, it was bankable charisma that translated into decades of earning power. Obituaries and industry retrospectives now place his net worth around $200 million, not fantasy numbers, but the compiled weight of a 5-decade portfolio. Here's the overlooked pivot. Redford understood when to monetize a crown jewel. In 2020, he sold Sundance Mountain Resort, a 2,600-acre asset he had nurtured since the late 1960s, to a private investment group. The deal transferred the heavy lift of running a ski area while preserving his conservation goals and freeing up capital. That wasn't a retreat. It was a strategic reallocation as he aged, keeping the Institute independent and his personal estate more liquid. The sale aligned with a pattern of simplifying holdings without dimming his brand's glow. And while the festival moves forward on its own timetable, Redford's association remains priceless, the kind of soft power that raises the value of archives, memorabilia, and produced projects long after the final curtain. Money talks, but legacy multiplies, and the paper trail of those multipliers leads us straight to his tangible assets: houses, land, and the art walls. Real wealth loves real things. Redford's property footprint, mountain acreage in Utah, work ranch parcels, and a stylish coastal foothold in California became both sanctuary and strategy. One headline example. In December 2024, he and his wife Sabine sold their Tiburon, California home for about $4.65 million, notably above ask, a clean exit that locked in gains and simplified their life across Utah and New Mexico. Sales like this aren't the story, they're the signal. Consolidate, de-risk, and move closer to what matters. Zoom out and the pattern sharpens. Earlier, Redford listed, and in reports, sold or repositioned, Horse Whisperer Ranch in Utah, a roughly 30-acre spread near Sundance, for around $4.9 million. Whether each parcel commanded headlines or not, the cumulative effect is clear. He converted lifestyle assets into flexible capital, or placed them where family logistics made sense. Factor in years of home improvements, water rights value, and nearby resort cachet, and you get property that did more than appreciate. It told buyers a story they wanted to pay for. Then there's the art. Redford wasn't merely a collector. He was married to an artist with her own studio and nonprofit footprint.
One thing I thought I'd lost, which was art, started out to be an artist, and had a struggle when I became an actor, giving up something that I thought I was meant to do or be, in exchange for something I wasn't sure about.
Art on the walls becomes art on the balance sheet, especially when provenance includes exhibition history and the Redford name. The same goes for personal archives, scripts, call sheets, festival ephemera, and photographs that major institutions compete to house. Those aren't trinkets, They're assets that can be donated for tax strategy or licensed for income for decades. We move from what he owned to who might inherit and why their stories shape the estate's next chapter. The heirs, the pain, the plan. Money never travels alone. It moves with history. Redford's life contained real grief. The loss of infant son Scott in 1959 and the death of his filmmaker son Jamie, in 2020. At the time of his passing in September 2025, he is survived by his wife Sabine Zaggers, daughters Shauna and Amy, and 7 grandchildren, a family web that is both intimate and artistically active. This matters because estates like Redford's rarely center on one heir. They become ecosystems, with different branches stewarding different parts. Expect a mix of revocable trusts to avoid probate and keep details private, LLCs, holding property or IP interests, and charitable vehicles aligned with the causes he championed. Redford lived like someone who planned for privacy, and trusts are privacy's favorite instrument. In that setup, spouse support is primary. Adult children often become co-trustees or beneficiaries on specified assets, and grandkids benefit through education or milestone provisions. The presence of nonprofits, Sundance Institute, the Redford Center, and his wife's The Way of the Rain suggest charitable clauses or legacy gifts that protect the brand while reducing estate tax exposure. It's a humane, tax-savvy map. Here's the emotional truth. Families don't just inherit money, they inherit missions. Shauna, a painter, and Amy, a filmmaker, stand at the intersection of art and stewardship. Grandchildren already active in creative fields multiply that promise. Picture a future where licensing, archives, and select productions carry the Redford seal under family oversight. Even a great plan gets tested, and Redford's fortune weathered storms most stars don't survive. Risks, stumbles, and the great rebound. The myth says icons are invincible. The ledger says otherwise. Redford weathered business setbacks, a theater chain that faltered, a strategic sale of the Sundance Channel stake in 2008, and the normal churn of ventures that don't match the vision. He was candid about disappointments, all his lost awards, snub, anyone, but he kept resetting the portfolio, shifting from operational headaches to long-term influence. Speaking of all is lost, Redford himself admitted, "We had no campaign to cross over into the mainstream. They didn't want to spend the money, or they were incapable." That frustration revealed the business mind behind the artist. He measured outcomes not only in applause but in missed opportunities. Then came the late-stage simplification. Moving out of California holdings, focusing time in Utah and New Mexico, trimming real estate risk in high-tax, high-maintenance zones, and doubling down on what was portable: art, IP, and reputation. Property moves like the Tiburon sale at a premium show excellent timing. The ranch reshuffle near Sundance suggests clean exits instead of lingering capital traps. Add in evergreen royalty trickles from library titles and any producer participations, and you get sleep-well income that doesn't need a box office miracle. The estimate you'll see everywhere, about $200 million at death, is not a stunt. It's a plausible roll-up of cash, property, IP, and post-sale liquidity, tempered by charitable intent and structure. A fortune big enough to change a family, but designed to guide one. The causes he loved turned from passion to blueprint, and that's where the story gets even more powerful for his heirs. The legacy locks.
I don't wish to look for an award. I don't wish to look for an achievement of a life achievement award, because for me, it's still going.
Redford's money wasn't only for comfort, it was a vehicle for values. He spent 5 decades as a force for independent film and environmental action, through Sundance Institute, through his long alliance with conservation groups, and via storytelling platforms that outlast a single lifetime. This is where fortunes become foundations, and where heirs become custodians. Expect endowed funds for labs and fellows, archive commitments that protect his papers and festival history, and brand licensing rules that keep his name aligned with quality, not quick cash. Sundance's future is secure in its own right. The family's influence will likely be felt in where and how the Redford story is told next. On the home front, Sibyl's art and nonprofit work, including performance-based environmental projects, offers a ready vessel for memorial commissions, traveling exhibitions, and collaborations that keep the Redford creative spine alive. For the grandchildren, the path is clearer than most Hollywood clans get. Not a gilded cage, but a well-lit corridor, education support, seed funding for purpose-driven film, and the credibility to convene talent under a respected banner. Redford himself summed up his refusal to compromise, whether in art or in life, when he recalled his fight to keep his Sundance Kid mustache. "It was authentic. I got my way." Even in small details, his legacy was about authenticity, a principle now built into the estate. And here's the twist worthy of a final act. Redford's greatest producer credit may be the one that rolls after he's gone, a sustainable system where art, land, and ideals fund each other. As probate filings and trust-related notices surface, we'll see how far he went to lock values into vehicles, and which heir steps forward as the face of the legacy. If you want more deep-dive breakdowns of celebrity fortunes that actually explain who gets what and why, hit like, drop your questions in the comments, and subscribe. And if you're curious how another Hollywood icon turned influence into generational wealth, watch the next video on your screen now. We're unpacking another jaw-dropping estate with the same no-nonsense clarity.